past few months in Education 496, I have been challenged emotionally, personally, and intellectually in my ways of knowing. I have had to not only confront what I thought I knew and what I expected to be true, and I had to accept what is not true. I've learned that education as a whole isn't just about absorbing the facts, it's actually about learning and listening and trying to understand, but you may not actually ever understand. It's unlearning the biases that we have in our cultures and listening deeply to those people that have stories and recognizing that our worldviews do shape the way that we engage with Indigenous people and anyone else around us. I want to be clear that I'm not stating this as an Indigenous person. I am stating this as me reflecting on my perspectives of learning and what has shifted between first taking this course and after. To explore this journey, I'm going to share 3 poems that I have made, and they reflect my past, my present, and my future. These ones, I took this idea because I really loved how we did reflections in our coursework, and I was able to really reflect on how I have changed and how my learning is moving in a positive direction, and that it's going to continuously learn throughout the future. Poem number 1. I grew up in schools where maps had borders, but never stories to share. I was taught about travelers in the time, but was not about the people who had been there before them. I didn't question the quietness. The silence was normal for me at the time. I didn't ask why we never said whose land we stood on at the time. I held questions shaped by my own relief. Wasn't that a very long time ago? Why do we need to learn this? I didn't know that those questions came from a place that never had to mourn. My lens was slim. My history was incomplete. My empathy not developed, but then a crack formed. This was the first time I realized I never listened enough. That I really want to point out about my first poem is maps had borders but never stories. I graduated in 2018, so I never actually had any Indigenous studies into my curriculum. So this class was the first class that I've actually gotten a grasp on Indigenous studies, which is so important because I'm going to be a teacher in elementary school. It kind of captured how I learned Indigenous studies. I learned geography and colonization, and that's what I was taught. I wasn't taught about Indigenous studies other than a little blurb about residential schools. So this class has really opened my eyes to that, but reflecting on my past, it's so important to now know that that was not okay. We should have been learning more, way more about what had happened. And I think another line that is super important is the moment I realized I need to change my point of view, then a crack formed. That one also, it means so much to me because when I was in my first year of university, I actually had a woman come in and speak because I lived in Manitoba at the time, and they were far more advanced than we are here, and they had a speaker come in and she shared her story about her disconnection from her culture because of all the negative impacts, and it really just spoke to me and really made me want to learn more. And so that's why I'm so excited that I got the opportunity to take this course and learn about all the different challenges that Indigenous people face, because I think people don't understand that, and I think that it's so important for us to know. But I really think that this first poem really just explains how I, in the K-12 system, was failed because I did not know what I should have known, and I didn't question what I was missing because it felt normal to me. But now looking back on it and reflecting, I can realize that by privilege and a narrow lens, that it's the beginning of me learning and truly listening to what other people can offer me to learn more. Number 2. In class, we didn't just study, we listened to our professors speak. Not to debate or to learn statistics, but to listen to live experiences that happened and are happening. I learned that communication isn't always direct. It's not always going to answer all of my questions, that those stories hold layers beyond layers beyond layers, that silence can be full of meaning and not mine to explain. I halted needing to fix the mistakes and started learning why. I understood that my perspective is just one of many and not the heart. Theirs is looking at my second poem, and looking at my present. I find that this is very important to me because this is where I am right now in my learning. One line that I really think stood out to me was, communication isn't always direct. Silence can be full of meaning. I think I'm starting to understand that Indigenous ways of knowing and teaching can offer it's different from what I was used to, and that the truth can come and that the meaning doesn't always come with clear-cut answers. It comes with patience, reflection, and respect. I'm not going to understand a concept right away, but learning and understanding and continuously trying even when you hit failure, that's so important, and that's what the Indigenous people did. They continued to fight. And I think that is something that I am currently wrestling with, and I'm currently trying my best. And I think that patience, I'm doing such a good job of having patience in my learning and in my learning journey, because I know it's not going to be an easy ride, but it's going to be worth it in the end to be able to make a difference. But I think that this really just has shifted from my learning and has wanting me to sit with knowing that my role isn't going to fix, or I'm not gonna be able to fix anything, but I can lead conversations and I can listen and I can respectfully try my best to understand these stories that these people are telling me, and to understand that these are their stories to tell, and I'm there to listen, and it's so important for everyone to understand. The third poem that I'm going to be sharing today. I won't claim to know it all, I never will, but I will keep showing up to listen, speaking up when I need to. I will support Indigenous voices by using my classroom as a place where they can feel heard. It's a lifelong relationship, which I plan to uphold, and with actions, not just words. I am still learning. I will continue to learn, because it is the least that I can do. From my third poem, The Future, I think this one is the most important out of all three, because it is really relating to what I can do in the future to help my future students, the people around me, and myself learn more and more about how we can help all Indigenous voices. One line that I really loved that stuck out to me was using my classroom as a place where they can feel heard. Because throughout the entire semester we have talked and reflected on how there are so many Indigenous students in these classes that they don't feel heard, they don't feel seen, they don't feel that they can speak up when they need to. And I want my classroom to be a place where students feel like they can be themselves and they can speak up when they feel like something is wrong. I want to create a space for Indigenous voices, especially in my learning environment and in any point in my life. And I think it's a step towards reconciliation. I don't know if there ever will be a point where we are fully there, but I think this is a great stepping stone that I am going to do in the future in my classroom. And I think this poem kind of says how I am going to be an ally to help. I'm going to be someone who listens. I'm going to be someone who makes space and stays committed beyond the classroom. And I'm not going to have all the answers, but I'm choosing to keep learning, keep asking, and keep showing up, because I think that there's good intention in that. Throughout these three poems, I hope that is clear where I stand on my learning journey and how my past has shaped my present and how my present will shape my future. When I first came into this class, it was a complete unknown, not taking any Indigenous content so far, and I think I've kind of scared away from it, and I think this course has really taught me that you can do the hard things, and the hard things come with good things coming to you as well. You're able to stand up for people, and you're able to learn and make a difference. And I think after learning and listening to the stories that we've spoken about in class, I've really been able to know that the unknown is okay, because that means I have more to learn. I have more to give. And if I know more, then my students know more, and it benefits all of them. But this course gave me a mirror and a window. I've started to recognize how my own worldview that I've been learning about has shaped by what I wasn't taught, and how important it is to listen and not lead the conversation. I think that's probably the biggest takeaway I will take from this course, is that you need to listen and not lead. You need to understand that you are learning, and they have so many great ways to help you learn. I will leave this course changed, not because of the answers, but because I'm asking better questions, and I will keep asking, listening, and acting with respect. So I just want to thank both of you for encouraging my learning and deepening my learning in my educational journey. This class will definitely be a landmark for me, and I feel like I really have learned on my whole experience, and I think that I'll be able to better help students in my classroom in the future with all of the tools and the honesty and respect that you have given me. So thank you very much.